not, being positive and optimistic might not always be the best choice. If you've ever struggled with having a positive mindset 100% of the time, you know exactly what I mean. So, there are times when it's best to have a more neutral approach. Learning to navigate the ups and downs is one of the challenges of life. It can be easier to live with calmness, composure, and level-headedness. Just because we're capable of those strong emotional responses doesn't mean it's a good idea all of the time. I mean, I'm sure you're capable of eating nothing but chocolate for a week too, right? The ancient Greek philosophy of Stoicism has become quite popular over the last few years. In a nutshell, a major component of Stoicism is the idea that people should be indifferent to their successes, failures, pleasure, and pain. Here are some ideas for you to consider to remain calm, composed, and present. Meditation. The perfect way to regularly practice being calm, composed, and focused. When you meditate, usually the first thing you notice is your mind's random and restless nature. You may also feel physically as well as psychologically uncomfortable. Focusing on your breathing is key. Watch TV shows and movies that elicit emotional responses, and learning to view them objectively is another strategy. Part of the reason TV and movies are so attractive is due to their ability to alter your emotions. That's what these media are really designed to do. So this is a great way to practice being stoic. As you watch, constantly remind yourself that it's only a movie. This works really well in horror movies particularly. I like to refocus and see that black border around the screen, which can help to keep those emotional responses subdued. Try observing your thoughts and your emotions with curiosity. Once we feel an emotion, our tendency is to focus on it and take an emotional ride. We can literally become hijacked by our emotions. Instead of magnifying your emotions, study them like a scientist would. View them as signposts for your thoughts. Notice how your emotions change when your thoughts change. Try acknowledging reality, asking yourself, what's really happening in this moment? And be practical, logical, and objective with your answer. For example, if your pool pump dies, then you either need a new pump or the current one needs to be fixed. That's it. All of the emotional gyrations have zero effect on the reality of the situation. They only make you less capable and miserable. Another strategy is realizing that nothing is actually permanent. The stock market, the weather, good times, bad times. None of them last. It only makes sense to avoid those big emotional swings. Enjoy and be grateful for those positive experiences, knowing that's not always like this. And when you encounter those tough times, keep in mind that these too will pass on and make way for the good times again. Now, I've mentioned this before, but understanding your level of control, how little control you have over the world and how much control you do have over your decisions and direct actions is another strategy. There's really not much you can do to change what's going on around you. I mean, other people are nearly impossible to control in any meaningful way. If you have kids, you know exactly what I mean. So if it's going to rain, it's going to rain. Why get emotional if that doesn't really help? Focusing on the things we can control, like our attitude, our behavior, what we read, what we buy, how we live, what we listen to, what skills we learn, where we travel, what we do for work, leaves us feeling more emotionally stable. Negative and positive experiences and emotions can be both advantageous and disadvantageous. Clinging too tightly to past events can inhibit further growth and success. It's hard to move forward when you're stuck in the past. And worrying too much about the future can suck the life and motivation out of you and can also inhibit progress. With a neutral mind, neither positive nor negative experiences have an adverse impact on you. Each day is another day to make progress and move forward. By having a neutral mind isn't about approaching life like a robot completely devoid of emotion. It's more about tempering your emotional responses and learning to be emotionally okay with any outcome, which can be an effective way to continue to make progress in life. You're not thrown off by other positive or negative experiences. You go with the flow, but you avoid the flood, and you're able to keep moving towards your goals. Now, if this has been useful for you, I'd love for you to share it with your friends or anyone else you think may find it useful, because remember, you too can unleash your unique version of success.